Hi, everyone. Welcome to Democracy in 5 Minutes. I'm your host, Paul Manna. I'm a professor of government and public policy at William & Mary here in Williamsburg, Virginia. Thanks for joining me today. In our last two episodes, we've been discussing how American democratic institutions like the different branches of government and the Constitution can help protect American democracy. We've used the metaphor of guardrails to explain how that works. Today, I want to apply the guardrail idea to the big development this week, namely President Trump's new tariffs that have rocked the global economy. The tariff case is an instructive example on our guardrails theme, I think, because of the authority the president has used to slap these tariffs on goods from the nation's trading partners. The general idea I hope you understand by the end of our discussion is that guardrails can soften the blow from these kinds of dramatic unilateral presidential actions, but only if Congress maintains those guardrails with regular upkeep and maintenance. That's where we're headed today, so let's go ahead and jump right in. I want to begin by briefly describing what tariffs are and how they work. A tariff is a tax that an importer pays on goods that it wants to bring into a country. For example, imagine hypothetically that the United States assesses a 20% tariff on avocados from Mexico. When an American importer goes to the US-Mexico border to pick up $1,000 worth of avocados that it's importing, it'll have to pay a tax of $200 to the US Customs Service to receive the shipment. Until that tax is paid, the avocados will simply sit in their boxes at the border. Note that the country of origin of the avocados, Mexico, does not pay the tariff, as some people in the Trump administration, including the president, have asserted. Rather, it's the American importer who pays it. Those are the basic logistics. I want to focus the remainder of today on the actions President Trump has taken in adopting these massive new tariffs on goods from the nation's trading partners. At first glance, it appears that the president is exceeding his authority with his tariffs, but upon closer inspection, believe it or not, it turns out he isn't. The U.S. Constitution seems to make it very clear that Congress is the branch of government with the power to set tariffs. In Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, it says that the Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. And more than that, it has the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations. If Congress possesses such authority, one might wonder how President Trump has been able to shape these new tariffs over the last week and to set those policies so rapidly without Congress's input. The reason is that Congress itself has passed laws that delegate broad authority to presidents to set tariff rates. In fact, the last time Congress actually set these rates itself was in 1933 with the infamous Smoot-Hawley Act, which many people think worsened the economic crash of the Great Depression. Since then, the legislature has passed several trade acts and other laws that have empowered presidents to make decisions about which countries' goods deserve tariffs and how high those tariffs should be. We see evidence of this in the White House's statement from April 2nd, where the president and his team justified the tariffs they had set. The statement referenced the president's authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977 as a major justification. The statement also mentioned additional trade acts as well that give the president broad latitude to set tariff rates. Also notable is these laws do not require the president to submit tariff plans to Congress for its review before the rates go into effect. In essence, with these laws, Congress has substantially reduced its ability to impose checks and balances on these presidential actions. That has big implications for the guardrails theme we've been discussing. What we have then is a case where Congress, instead of relying on its Article 1 powers to assert clear control over tariff levels, has taken down that guardrail by delegating much authority to the president. In the past, Congress, through this sort of delegation, thought it was a good idea because of the damage the Smoot-Hawley Act did during the Great Depression. The idea was to eliminate the chance that Congress would make a similar mistake in the future. But in so doing, members of Congress didn't contemplate that at some point a future president, like President Trump, would try to return to the logic that motivated the dramatic protectionism of the 1930s. So in many ways, it was naive of Congress to set policy like this. Remember that the Declaration of Independence identified trade policy and tax policy as two areas of abuse from the King of England that motivated the colonies to declare independence in the first place. That's one reason why the authors of the Constitution included the regulation of trade with foreign nations as one of Congress's Article 1 powers. So, what does today's discussion mean for you as the nation moves deeper into this period of economic uncertainty? As you try to make sense of the economic and political complexities of tariffs and how these ideas relate to American democracy, I would suggest that you keep your eyes on Congress to see if it musters a response. Already there have been some bipartisan bills that members in the House and the Senate have proposed to try to scale back the president's authority over tariffs. At the moment, it looks like those bills don't have enough momentum to pass both the House and the Senate. Perhaps that could change if the immediate term economic damage from tariffs continues to mount today and into the future. Congress would certainly be acting within its authority if it did try to assert itself. Whether it has the political will to do so is the million-dollar question right now. It's on that note that I'd like to wrap up today's episode, folks. I look forward to sharing more ideas with you next week. And as ever, please reach out if you have ideas for future discussions. You can contact me by email at pmanna@wm.edu. Until we meet again, take good care, everyone, and thanks again for tuning in.